Good morning. It's time for Two Guys on Sports. I'm Larry Hazer.
I'm Dick Olson. Good morning, Larry.
Good morning, Dick. And before we go any farther, I mentioned it before we went on, but I was in the barbershop the other day, and a lady mentioned that she enjoys listening to our show.
Well, that was nice.
I have no idea who it was.
Yeah.
I probably should have, but maybe I don't. I'm not good with faces.
Yeah,
but
one other thing, too, Larry. Yesterday
thank you for listening.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, yesterday was my mother's 84th birthday. So
Oh, wow. Happy birthday.
I did say happy birthday yesterday, but I'll say it again today just
Yes.
because I know she's listening. So.
Yes, I know she's listening. Yes, indeed. All right. Well, probably the first time since we've had our show.
Yeah, we have the state champion on the show.
We have a state champion on the show.
Yeah.
A first-time state champion. We welcome in Mr. Tucker Johnson, the individual state champion in Division III, just crowned the other day down in Madison. We got his coach here with us as well, Will Schlinsog. Congratulations again, Tucker. I know you had a big welcome home the other night when you came back from Madison. Maybe just talk a little bit about the golf itself down there in Madison. I know you had 2 days. I understand Monday it might have been a little windy. Down there. Mm-hmm. And if your coach, if Will, wants to join in as well as you guys discuss the round, pretty even. Well, it was even 76-76. But was that how the play went as far as the both days?
I think I hit the ball better the second day. It was a little bit more shaky the first day. I started out, the front nine was worse than the back nine the first day. The second day, both of them were pretty even with each other. So I had some rough holes, but I bounced back, so that was good. But there is definitely some more ups and downs the first day than the second day.
Okay, Coach. I know I talked to you when he came back. You kind of pushed him a little bit to some other areas to where he normally doesn't go.
Well, he was our practice round. We played with kids that hit it 300 yards, and he was hitting it as far as them and farther. So my point to him was we can get to a lot of these par fives in two. I know that's not a great idea for a lot of kids taking that 5-wood or 5-iron or 4-iron out, but we wanted to step on that pedal because his play in the last 2 or 3 weeks, he's had some challenges where he could have been the medalist at our conference meet. He could have been the medalist, so he tied and got in a playoff at the sectional. And he happened to play his practice round with that kid again, and then he played golf with him again at Madison. So we wanted revenge, but we also wanted to know that we have to get birdies, not pars. And Tucker made what we decided 3 birdies out of the 2 days, the 36 holes. That's pretty darn good. But we had a 7 on one hole where we had a meeting of minds. he flexed a little bit, but he responded because he shot 36 on the next 9, and that it's a wake-up call that you're the best golfer here. So you got to own that and use your skills.
Right.
You're the best up and down player I've ever had, golfer I've ever had. And then when you combine his short game with he played with a kid that was 6'2" or 6'4" the last day, that when he swung hard was hitting the ball 320, 330. Tucker was keeping up with him.
Wow.
And those are the kids that are going to beat you if you don't use everything you got to your skill set.
Right.
And I think we know going in, I said to him before the practice round that if you shoot 75 or better both days, I said, we win this whole thing. And I believe that. I know you can do that. I've been around golf long enough. I've coached you long enough. I know what we have to do. He shot 76 the first day. We weren't unhappy. He shot 76 the second day. We weren't unhappy. Then we had to sit and wait to see if we were going to actually.
Right. Yeah.
And you were in pretty early on the second day, weren't you?
Well, and I've got a dozen friends that said they kept hitting, just like he kept hitting refresh on the.
Yeah.
I was one of them.
Yeah, there was a lot of people I think that were doing that.
So it was theater a little bit, but he had his dad in tow and some of his small. It was a small version of his normal entourage. All those things add up. He had some kids from Nilsville that watched him, and it all kind of, it's all support. It's all energy, and I'm a chiropractor. It's all about energy. We had pretty good energy. We played we didn't really play in the rain, but it was raining the first day in the practice round. It rained a lot, actually, when we got there. There was water running down, and it kind of, we're used to going to Kohler where it rained on us just about every year we were there. So it turned out great. I mean, the whole thing was him rising to the occasion, me as an old guy having enough energy to push him a little bit, his dad being part of the team, that was a real fun thing. And I told Dewey that everything happens for a reason. Everybody's where they are. When you got 52 kids there, then there's hundreds that would like. I told him on the way home, there are hundreds of kids would love to be.
Oh yeah,
Absolutely.
Thousands of kids
Yeah.
right, in Division
Absolutely.
III. There's more Division III golf teams than there are Division II and III. And I said to him, "You beat 51 guys, but you know what? 52 of those guys wanted to do what you did today.
Yeah.
You have to believe that you can do it. You got to go out there and do it, and you gotta play some pretty tough golf." And he hung in there the whole day.
What'd you think when Coach told you had to push yourself a little bit, maybe take some chances? Are you a chance taker when it comes to golfing? I know some people don't like to have the course play them.
It really depends. I mean, on that one, when we got that 7, it was like he wanted me to go for the green. I didn't want to go for the green. I think it was a good idea to go for the green after doing it, but I hit a really bad chip after the fact, and it was just compiled. I got a bad lie from the chip, so it's just little things like that. I probably shouldn't have gone for the pin on that chip because there was a sand trap short right, and I had to carry it 25 yards, and the pin was 27 yards, so probably could have aimed 20 feet to the left and had a 15, 20-footer coming down the hill instead of hitting it in the bunker.
Yeah.
And then, But I was just really happy with how I bounced back after that, because right after that happened, that was hole 9 on the first day. And then hole 10 through 18, the back 9 played really, really well, and I shot 36 on the back 9.
Okay, second day, you're coming in 4 shots behind the Durand, Arkansas golfer. What was your mindset going in to Tuesday? Excuse me.
I knew if I just played how I could, like if I played decent or like pretty good, I knew I could have gained some ground on him. He had a really good day. Maybe he could do it again. If he did it again, props to him. But I knew it was pretty hard to do that again. He played very well.
Did you think he was going to do what he did though? Obviously not.
I don't. No, I don't really think.
That was
I thought it was gonna be not as good, but I didn't think it was gonna be that bad. Like I thought I had to shoot probably 2 over the second day to win it, but 4 over got it done, I guess.
You were there twice before at Madison. Didn't play at University Ridge. Am I correct?
No, he was there. Kohler twice. So
Kohler twice.
once as a team and once as an individual.
Right.
23 and 24.
So a little different playing at University Ridge. You were at State, but it's a different course. Did it help you that you were there twice before to get ready for this time?
Yeah, for sure. Because I knew like how many people were gonna be there, what to expect, how score. Because it sounds weird, but the scoring app they do a different scoring app for State, and it's actually kind of hard to understand. But it's way different than what we normally use. So I think just having the idea of what's all gonna happen, what it feels like to go 3 days in a row like that, 18 holes at a long course. Knowing that I've been in that spot before and I just haven't executed correctly really helped me. That I knew if I just executed the so to say plan or whatever, I knew it would be good. So yeah.
Are you I think if I got in that situation, I don't know about you, Dick, but I think I would fold because I would get really nervous at that point. Are you that kind of a golfer, or does the pressure, is that what you like to live for?
I mean, I like pressure, but yeah, I was very nervous. I mean, you can't really help that. But I feel like I just took the nerves to my advantage and changed it into more excitement than nerves. Like,
Okay.
I'm not scared to do this. We're in this moment. Let's have fun with it. You know what I mean?
Okay, yeah.
So
And
it's
I mean, you're good enough where,
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
I mean, some kids are, they're at that point. Maybe that's what the Durand kid was. Maybe he was the first day he's up here, but actually he probably isn't at that level quite yet.
Yeah.
Big stage. The hole
Yeah.
that he got the 7 on, he confessed to me after the event was over that there's a lot of people there, and he was nervous. And he, shallow breathing, and your confidence kind of takes a little hit because you think I got to show what I can do here. It's a big deal when you get in front of. I've played in member guests where there's 300 people, and I get over the ball saying, "Boy, I hope I don't shank this ball."
That's what I would feel.
Yeah.
I can't hardly do it when I'm at the Hillsville Country Club and they got a gathering underneath the pavilion.
Well, yeah,
and
I
I'm
said-
out there by
I
myself.
said, how many times you tee off the first hole at Nilsville
Yeah.
and you do something stupid because
Yeah.
everybody's watching you there,
Then the next hole's you birdie every hole after that.
Yeah.
How many people are actually watching down there? Is there a lot of people that follow
as
the groups?
As the event goes on during the day, because the ones don't go off till the afternoon on the second day, but it really fills up. But it doesn't. There wasn't a lot of people there when he had that problem. There just has to be some people there because he's now got an audience and he wants to, you want to impress, right?
Yeah.
You don't want
Wow.
to miss the free throw to win the game. You want to make it.
Right.
And walk out of
Right.
the gym with your head, gym held high.
Sure.
Or your head held
Sure.
high. So, that 7 was the best thing that happened to him and me because I had to lean on him a little bit and we made a pact that we're going to now. He was playing so good. I mean, so good that I had no doubt in my mind that we could recover, because it's a 2-shot thing that we don't, it's a double bogey that we don't want to have. But the way he was playing, and I think 54 holes is a lot, and we were halfway through our 36 holes basically at that point. So
Yeah, to come back from a 7, that's mentally. I mean, sometimes that'll just take you right down, and you'll think, oh boy, now I don't have it. But
Yeah.
it's good stuff. Division III champion.
Okay.
Is it sunk in yet?
A little bit, not fully, but yeah.
What's the plans for summer?
I have a few tournaments, probably about a handful of tournaments, 2-day tournaments for Wisconsin Junior PGA.
Okay.
Maybe some WSGA qualifiers or something like that, and then off to Stout August 16th is when I
Okay.
leave, I think.
Now, that's one, you don't hear a lot about WIAC golf teams, but is it pretty competitive down there?
Oh,
or-
yeah. Oh,
Okay.
Is that a year-round thing like all the other sports, or?
It's so there's 2 seasons, fall and spring. So
Well, there is. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. So when do you start your fall season then, right? When you get there?
right when I get there, pretty much. Yep. I'm assuming that's like when we.
Or is it already started?
I don't know.
Never ends, does it?
Yeah.
Pretty much.
Well, that's how you get to be a Division III champion.
Absolutely.
It doesn't just come.
Yeah, any champion, it takes a lot of hard work to get done. So.
Yeah. Well, we appreciate you guys coming in
And one thing
and
too,
talking
Larry,
with us.
they'll always remember the first champion and the last champion. So everybody's always going to remember Tucker
Yes,
Johnson.
Tucker
so.
Johnson. He's the first Division III champion.
something that hasn't been done before.
Yep.
I think Julie Simic came up to me when we went to state and said, very proudly, she said, when the last time Nilsa went to state? She goes, I was on the, I said, well, how old are you? She goes, well, it was 25 years ago, do the
Yeah.
math or something like that.
Yeah.
But that's a long time to go without
Yes.
having, a team go to state
Yeah.
as well.
Yeah.
And there weren't a lot of individuals that went that time either. So
Yeah.
it's just been in the last crop, when
Yeah.
the Nolan Johns and Tucker come up, that we started seeing kids going to state again.
We've
so
been to state 4 out of the last 5 years,
Yeah.
so we're real happy with what we,
You bet.
did and the kids that were involved. Nolan was a very good golfer. Tucker and him did. When you got 2 guys like that playing together on a team, you don't have to. The 3 and 4 don't have to work quite so hard.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a lot of fun. The Easton. I'm going to name everybody: Easton Sweden, Andrew Brown, and Jonah Zardnicki, and kids that came along to help us in the last 5 years. It's been a joy, and I knew. I think I told you this
Yes.
yesterday.
Yeah.
I knew when I followed him as a freshman, the first meet up in what I would call a mud fest up in Medford on the Black River Golf Course. God asked me, if you got a chance to coach this kid for 4 years, take it. And I knew right then that I came home and told my wife that. She wasn't real happy about it. But she says, well, who is Tucker Johnson? I said to him, well, he's a kid that is going to be doubted by a lot of people because of his stature. I said, I think he's probably going to grow because he's like 5'1" right now. And I have proof of that in my thing here just in case you just get that. So he's gotten a lot stronger, a lot better, and I'm glad that I listened to the man above and took this guy
Yeah.
to do what he did. It was really exciting.
Yeah, and I don't know, Coach. Back in 3rd grade, I coached him in baseball, and I thought this kid had makings of pretty good baseball. It didn't take too long before we lost him, though. So
Yeah.
Yeah, 8th grade was kind of the turning point,
Yeah.
right?
In fact, he
Yep.
told me I was his favorite coach.
I thought I was
Back in the day.
I thought I was.
Oh, maybe it was. Oh, well, okay. Everybody was
I
his
told
favorite
everyone
coach.
that.
Oh, okay.
I was his favorite coach, you know why? Because I was his only golfer.
Yeah,
There
okay,
you go.
there you
Yeah,
go. Yeah,
absolutely.
that always makes a
Yeah.
difference too. That always makes a difference. All right. Well, again, congratulations,
Yep.
Tucker.
I appreciate
Will,
it.
on the
Will,
coaching
thank
job.
you for everything you've done. And
Yeah.
so,
Yes.
It was enjoyable.
All right. If you guys want to stick around, you can. Otherwise,
Yeah.
maybe you got a golf match you got to get to or something.
Yeah.
We're just going to BS here for the next 15
talk
minutes.
A little softball. And
All right. Thank you.
You bet. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
just set him on the chair.
All right. You want to get into any of this state track and
Well,
field?
I just want to name off a few names.
Okay.
Yeah, because you got to talk about Chris Marcel.
Yes.
211 feet in the discus, and that broke the D3 record by 30 feet, Larry.
That's amazing.
He's 1 foot short of the overall state record. So
Yeah. And he's only a junior.
And I saw an interview the other day on Channel 7 with him, and he said it wasn't until freshman that somebody came along and really told him how to throw the discus.
Really?
Yeah. So.
Well, he's got it down.
Yeah, and he also set a D3 record in the shot put, also 61 feet. So only a junior. This kid is something special to watch.
You know, I look back and I saw the Division I record.
Yeah.
Did you see the Division I record?
No.
70 feet.
Yeah. But 61 feet as a junior, that's not out of range.
No.
Not out of range. So,
No, he's got a year to practice.
a couple people else I wanted. Izzy Sonentag.
What an
triple,
athlete.
Three wins down there. The 400 dash, 100-meter relay, long jump. Sam Filippo from Fall Creek and winning the girls' triple jump and pole vault and just.
And Izzy, by the way, set Division III records.
Yes, yep. And then Bella Thomas from Assumption, a double winner, and set a record in the 200. So
Yeah, Izzy in the 400 and Izzy in the 100 hurdles.
yeah. So we just had, and marathon course winning the boys team title. But I said you start off with 20 points from Marcel. That is so big.
Yeah.
And
Yep.
so it just but a lot of plays, too many for us to talk about today.
Yeah, there's a lot of them.
Just a tremendous lot of kids placing. I did want to mention the Nielsville girls 4x100. When we talked to them last week, Larry, they had done a 4:32, I believe it was, or 5:32, whatever.
Yeah.
And the state record, their record was a 5:05.
Yeah, it was 51 something.
50. Okay, it was 51:32 that they did in the
Yes,
second.
yes,
And
twice.
then-
Yeah.
And 51:05 was the state, school record. They broke that in the preliminaries with a 50:94, and in the finals they came 50:44. Just totally wiped that out.
Yep.
Seventh place for them. Not one short of the podium. They got a couple team points, but they sat down there. That was their goal.
Yeah.
And they obliterated the school record in that 4x100. That is going to be tough for anybody to beat.
It
in
is.
school, so.
It is. Layla Walk, Bryn Heck, Gracie Shingarth, and Kaylee
Absolutely.
Lawrence on that
And
team.
and also Brody Bergman, 14th in the long jump. Gracie Shingarth did well in the hurdles, and also Kaylee Lawrence was 10th in the long jump. So the Nielsville athletes did tremendously well. Addison Wolf from Loyal on the podium twice with 6th place in both the 100 and 200. So
All right, yeah.
local athletes did tremendous.
I mean, it was just there was so many people down
man,
there that.
it was hard to keep track.
Yeah.
Of, so
Yeah, and the Special Olympics, Wisconsin Summer Games were also last week. Gregory Schmidt, 7th in the mini javelin. The 4x100 meter relay team there was 2nd. In fact, I saw Coach K, Colin Schmitz, with the medal around his neck the next day. He and Dana Schiltz and Gregory Schmidt and Bo Fravert got 2nd in that relay.
They're really doing well down there. Coach K did mention to me, they could use some younger, the group they have is getting a little older.
Yeah,
They need some younger ones they'd like to have come in and mentor.
Sure,
But,
sure.
kudos to them. They worked hard. They really practiced
they do.
hard. I mean, Coach K will be up in the press box with us, and all of a sudden, nope, it's time for
Yeah,
practice. And
got to
he's
leave.
gone.
Got to leave. Yeah. All right. Well, we got baseball and softball going on. Baseball state is ready to go. They've got the teams lined up and ready to go for next week.
Yeah.
Down
they'll
in
be
over in
seated-
Appleton.
They'll be seated later, but D4. How about local representation here? Edgar, and of course we've seen Edgar earlier in the year, Larry, and they blew through that sectional. They beat Rib Lake 8-1, and then Northwood, Solon Springs 14-1. Pittsville kind of blew through their sectional after a tough win against Blair Taylor. Pretty easy win against Highland. Pacelli going down. Two teams from that Central Wisconsin Conference, Pacelli and Pittsville and Pacelli have split this year.
Yeah.
And Pittsville also lost to Edgar, so a lot of common there. So
Yeah. And when that Pittsville Blair Taylor game, I thought that the winner out of that one was probably going to be the team
absolutely, I did too.
that would be the state representative.
Yeah, Pittsville, pretty good 1-2 tandem in the pitching there with Luther and Zickert.
Yep.
Yeah, they're very tough. They're going to be, and same thing with Edgar because they've got Applebeck and then Stanky. So
Yeah. Yeah.
two awesome pitchers. Both teams to watch down there. Don't know much about Johnson Creek, but that'll be fun to watch.
It's always a name though that's there.
Absolutely, it's been there many times.
Yes. Yes.
D3, you got Barron, Kenosha St. Joseph's, Fenimore. That was the sectional Nielsville was in. And then Kewanee D3, D2. Aquinas made it again, Larry.
Hey, how about that? Moved up a division, they're
Yeah,
still there.
yeah. New Berlin, Eisenhower, Reedsburg, and Seymour. D1, Badger, Hartford, Hortonville, Hudson, Muskego, Oak Creek, Sun Prairie East, Sussex, Hamilton. A lot of common names there also.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
So,
Yeah, that's usually what happens
Yeah.
with a lot of these. And, some of these teams, I look at this girls softball in Fall Creek. I think they started in Division 5 several years ago.
absolutely.
They're all the way up to Division 3, and they're still
Absolutely.
making it to state.
Yeah. And you look at, we'll talk about that in a minute, but they're probably the heads-on favorite. But you look at those 4 names in D3, it's pretty good athletics there, and pretty good softball there. So it could be a tough bracket.
Yes,
so.
indeed. Well, the girls state softball tournament, and by the magic of radio, here we are in the Two Guys on
Yes.
Sports, and we're also going to be in Madison.
People are going to wonder how we're 92 can be in both places
Yeah.
at once, but we're doing it.
Yes.
So.
Almond Bancroft and Thorpe at around 11:30 this morning.
Yeah.
We've got Division 5 state semifinal. How about the Thorpe Cardinals making it back down here
Absolutely.
again?
I said, when we talked to Coach Reiner last Wednesday, he said, hey, our conference gets us so ready for this tournament. It's primarily, you got D3 teams and you got D4 teams, and Thorpe, a D5 team, had 6 losses in the conference, but really put a showing on it, especially in the 2 games we did.
Yeah, I mean, they put the bat on the ball.
Oh man,
They had 27 hits in those 2 games.
And then in the field, they are so fundamentally sound on the base pass and in the field, and they do not make a lot of mistakes.
No,
So.
And Almond Bancroft, a team that's making their, I believe, 3rd trip to state, but the last time they were there was back in 82 and 84.
Yeah, so it's kind of new ground for them, but very solid team from what it looks like on paper anyway, so we'll see. But
Yeah, you don't make it there for...
Yeah. Other half, Belmont was rated number 1 pretty much all season.
Yep.
And then the number 4 seed Ithaca, of course, Ithaca knocked out Columbus Dons, and you beat the Columbus Dons this year. That says something about a team too, Larry. So
Yeah. They are making their 2nd trip to state. Ithaca came back in 2014 was their first one that they made it to. But yeah, some good softball I think could be played.
Yeah.
Hopefully the weather holds out. I know they're
man.
talking rain here
Yeah,
into the weekend, so
well, we'll see, but hopefully it'll be okay. So,
they may have to play in a little bit of rain.
no, it
during
doesn't hurt anybody.
No, I'm not going to melt. I know that.
No, me either.
Sad note coming out of basketball this past week. Jerry Pettigrew,
Yes.
longtime Cuba City coach,
of course, Jerry
passed away.
All-time wins leader in this state. With over 1,000 wins. I believe 1,084.
1,027.
27. Okay. And it was just in the last couple of years that he retired. But
Yeah,
he-
52 years he was a head coach.
He retired
at Cuba City.
He retired in the early 2000s, and he had made the famous quote. He says, "Some people retire and play golf. I retire and coach basketball." So, and I think you could draw a lot of parallels to Jerry Pettigrew with Jerry Sins up at Edgar.
Yeah.
Edgar football. So,
Right, yeah.
But
Very successful programs.
Yeah, and I guess in this last year. He was ill during the boys' state tournament because he often worked as a commentator.
Right, yeah.
And he was ill, and it was the first tournament he had missed in.
Oh,
ever.
wow, yeah.
You know,
Yeah, he
so-
was always a mainstay
Yeah,
on the...
either his team was playing in it or he was being a
Color man.
commentator.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, and he was a good commentator,
yeah,
too.
absolutely. Absolutely.
He could coach, he could color commentate, he was good.
I said, it's quite a guy. It was
Yeah.
that's the kind of guy you'd love to have a sit down and talk basketball with for a while. So
84.
yeah,
Passed
wow.
away on Saturday.
Just sad. So.
Yes. Let's see what else we got going on in the world of sports. The Packers got rid of Jair Alexander.
Yep.
Probably a good thing, maybe.
I think so. You look back at the last couple seasons, Larry, he has not played in a lot of games,
No.
and the salary he's drawing can be used elsewhere.
Yeah.
Now, could it come back to bite the Packers? Absolutely. I don't
Yeah,
know.
it could.
I
Yeah.
don't know where he's going to sign, but he just was not on the field enough to warrant the Packers trying to keep him.
Especially at the money you said.
And that show the Packers have tried all off season to trade him.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
one other NFL note: Aaron Rodgers finally put his name on the bottom line. This is going to be interesting as heck. Pittsburgh's opening season game is against the New York Jets,
Yes.
and then their 8th game of the season is against the Packers. So, and there's a couple of defenses in Cleveland and Baltimore that are licking their chops to get two shots at him also, because Miles Garrett from Cleveland has already pretty much said
Oh, yeah?
this was going to be his last season. So Rogers last.
Yeah. Okay.
So,
yeah.
but,
should be interesting.
$13 million getting from the Steelers, and I tell you,
For 1 year.
1 year.
Yeah.
But I just don't understand where the Steelers are heading. You know,
I know. I don't
a
get
lot
it
of
either.
people say, you know, if you're going to do this, why did you hang on to Russell Wilson for another year? You know, but whatever. You know, it's
Because Rodgers really hasn't done that much.
No, and then in
the last few years.
you look at the baggage he brings. You know, because are you going to keep him off the Pat McAfee show? Are you going to keeping his pie hole shut from all the stupid comments he makes lately? But we'll see. You know,
Yeah.
maybe he'll come out and have a fantastic year. But I'll
Well,
tell you
all
what,
power to him,
you're
but
going
I don't know.
You're going into the AFC Central, which is a very tough defensive conference, and you're also going up against Lamar Jackson and Joe Burrow. So we'll
Yeah.
see what happens. So,
And who knows about the young guy at Cleveland there?
yeah, but you know,
Sanders. And,
Cleveland's defense is strong.
yeah.
And you're going to have to go against that. So
Yeah.
so,
Yeah. All right. Well, we'll see what happens
Yeah.
there with that.
yeah, absolutely.
So we got a Packer leaving and a former Packer coming in
Yeah,
later
yeah.
in the year. So we'll see.
That's a Sunday night game with the Packers
Yes.
and Steelers too.
Maybe Jair Alexander will go to a team where
yeah,
he'll
so-
play the Packers too. We'll
Yeah, I could easily. You know, sometimes they do that. Yeah, usually Minnesota.
Yeah.
They love to go to Minnesota.
some reason
or
I don't know
Chicago,
why.
I don't
Yeah.
know. So.
Yeah.
Brewers tonight. Their top pitching prospect is going to make his first start.
The big guy, he's like 6'7" or something.
Jacob Mizorowski, and he throws over 100 miles an hour. So we will see. So
Look out, Cincinnati.
yeah, no, they're St. Louis.
Or St. Louis, yeah, St. Louis. I'm sorry.
Cardinals
I'm
coming
sorry.
in.
Yeah, St.
Cardinals
Louis.
coming in tonight. So.
Yes.
Brewers struggling at the plate big time though.
They lost another one to the Braves yesterday.
Yes, absolutely. Quinn Patrick on the mound, but the Braves are getting healthy. They've got Ronald Acuna Jr. back
Yep,
in the lineup,
yep.
and he just makes their whole lineup better.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
so.
Yeah, well, Brewers still hanging in there. I mean,
Yeah, they're 3 games above 500. You know, all it takes is one hot streak. But Chicago playing very, very well. The Cardinals are playing very well, and the Reds are hanging around too. So it's a very tough division this year. About the only gimme you got is over in Pittsburgh
yeah,
this year.
yeah.
So.
Well, the Cubs are kind of playing like they probably should have been playing.
Yeah,
here.
absolutely. Yeah, for the money they spend, especially on a manager. But Kyle Tucker was a great free agent ad for them. He's done well. And there's Pete Crow Armstrong, their center fielder,
Yeah.
has really took it
I don't know
off.
where he came from.
He was in there. He came up last year and he struggled at the plate. This year he's just
He's
taken
not
off.
struggling.
No, not at all.
No.
So they're a pretty sound, very sound offensive team. So
Okay. All right. Carlos Alcaraz and Yannick Sinner had quite a match
yeah, absolutely.
the other day in the French Open. In fact, it lasted over 5 hours, almost 5.5 hours.
How can you sit through one of them?
We were watching it, and I thought, he's not going to come back here
Yeah.
because he was down 2-0. He won the third set.
Yeah.
My gosh, he came back and won those
Well,
last
I'll tell you,
two.
it takes a good set of legs to do that.
Oh.
Holy mackerel.
5 hours, 5.5 hours of running back and forth
Yeah.
on that clay, and you're sliding around.
Absolutely.
You
That
never
clay
get
is
good.
hard, and it's hard on your knees and
Yeah.
your whole body. Just I can't imagine what their bodies felt like on Monday. So
Longest French Open final ever,
Yep.
and the second longest men's Grand Slam final ever.
But Carlos Alcaraz seems to be the #1 guy in tennis these days.
He's the guy.
Yeah. So,
He's the man.
NHL Finals, Panthers 2-1 over the Oilers. NBA Finals, Pacers stole one in Game 1. Can't believe that.
What's his
but
name again?
Halliburton.
Yeah, Halliburton
so
again.
that kind of puts the whole
Yeah.
series.
We'll
in
see how that series goes.
So.
Again, thanks to Tucker
Yeah,
Johnson and his coach, Will.
Schlinsog has just been a great mentor for Tucker,
Yeah.
as among Dewey Pageau, his stepdad too, and just
Well, some of the other guys in the community that golf have really helped him
yeah,
along.
absolutely. There's so much good help down here at the country club, and of course, he's been Tucker himself, his work ethic.
Yeah.
I mean, most summer days he plays 27 holes of golf. So
Yeah. You don't get better by just sitting at
no,
home.
absolutely, and he was doing this as a kid.
Well, Will talked about how
Yeah.
he was just a little.
Yeah.
Remember when he used to come out and he was small, but
Absolutely, but he was like that in baseball too, Larry. He was small, but the ball just jumped off his bat.
yeah.
Even when he was in 3rd and 4th grade, the ball just jumped off his bat.
Yeah.
And he could throw. He threw just as well. for a little guy, he threw just as well as some of the bigger guys
Yeah.
too. So he was a joy to coach and a lot of fun. He added a lot of humor to it.
Yes, he did. Yes, he did. Yes, he did. Girls softball today, 11:30. We've got Thorpe against Allen Bancroft on 92.7 WPKG.
Hopefully it's dry for us.
Yes, we'll see what happens. That's Two Guys on Sports for this week. I'm Larry Hazer.
I'm Dick Olson.
We'll talk to you again next week.